The gentleman there, please tell us your name and ask the question. Make it brief.
Swamiji Pranam. So this is in discussion with a friend of mine who is also a fellow Vedantin, but he is a fan of Nagarjuna's Shunyavad.
So am I.
So we have had several discussions about that Punya and Shunya, and also listening to Swami Sarvapriyanandaji's talk about the same topic. So we have found several geometrical, mathematical ways to prove that Shunya can be Punya. But for me, I'm logically, intellectually, I'm able to reconcile. But how can my Ma Kali be Shunya? How can my beloved Hanumanji be Shunya? So I can logically understand, but can never reconcile to the fact that I can only see it's completely Punya. Like you say, Thasatas bhara hua hai. So it's like it can only be bhara hua. How can it be Shunya?
It can be Shunya also. See, I like it. Not that Advaita requires Madhyamaka Buddhism, nor also that Madhyamaka Buddhism requires Advaita. They are perfect in themselves. They are magnificent systems. There is a reason why Shankara was attacked and criticized as a Prachanna Bauddha, because there are so many of his conclusions are like not the same as Madhyamaka Buddhism, like mirror images. So apparently they are saying the opposite, and yet they seem to be saying the same thing also. For me, what is the wrong way to understand these systems? So we as Advaitins, I feel, and the big thing I'm saying with like a choti muh badi baat they say in Hindi, I feel we have been a little unfair to the Madhyamaka Buddhists, in general, Advaitins. Though in two places, one Vidyaranya Swami in Panchadashi in one place, and another Sri Harsha in Khandana Khanda Khadya. They actually say we have no conflict with the Madhyamaka. That's a very carefully put, And of course the opposite side also. If you talk to the Tibetan lamas, they disagree that Advaita Vedanta points to the same reality as Madhyamaka Buddhism. So traditionally on both sides there is disagreement. There is fight for, I would say, 1800 to 1900 years. Nearly 2000 years fight is there between these two sides. But if you study them closely, so what is the wrong way of understanding Advaita? What is the wrong way of understanding Madhyamaka Buddhism, Shunyavada? The wrong way of understanding Advaita is as if that reality, Atman, Brahman, is some kind of thing. There are people, animals, stars and planets and Brahman. Not like that. From that perspective, there is no such thing. You will never find any such thing as Atman, Brahman. We know why. Because it's not an object. It's not an object. If you make a catalog of all the things in the universe, will you add one more thing called God, Brahman, Atman? No. So to misunderstand Advaita is to think that we're talking about Atman, Brahman is something. Misunderstanding of Shunyavada Buddhism is that what we have always accused them of, that they are nihilists. What they're saying is there is nothing at all. It's all empty, it's all nihil, nothing, zero. But it's unfair because Nagarjuna and Chandrakirti also have pointed out again and again that we are not saying that there is nothing. What are you saying then? They are saying that if you say that it is, not that it is, there's some ultimate reality, Atman, they are saying not that it is. Oh, so you are saying it is not that it is not. So it is both is and is not that it both is and is not. So it's neither is nor is not, it's neither that also. That's what we are saying. Chatushkoti vinirmukta tattvam. And almost the same language is used by Gaudapada in Mandukya Karika to talk about Turiya or Atman. So, to summarize, how to understand this? It is not that the ultimate reality is nothing, Shunya. It's not that the ultimate reality is a thing, some substance. I put it this way, it is no thing. Not nothing, not a thing, it is no thing. Because it's not an object. It is pure subject. And not this, again, when I say pure subject, it will attract the Madhyamaka dialectic. It's a very powerful tool for attack, the Madhyamaka analysis. So I endeavor to show the Atman or Brahman, this Turiya which we are talking about, it escapes the net of the Madhyamaka dialectic. One book I can recommend openly, very little known book. One Tibetan scholar recommended it to me. He said, there's a book called Progressive Stages of Meditation on Emptiness. Progressive Stages of Meditation on Emptiness. Small book, available on Amazon. I purchased it. Amazing. The idea of shunya, emptiness, starting with the Theravada Buddhists, going to the Yogachara Buddhists, then coming to the Madhyamaka Shunyavadi, what is called the Prasangika Madhyamaka. First what is before this Swatantrika Madhyamaka, then the Prasangika Madhyamaka, and then going on to the final development of the idea of emptiness, which they call the Shentong school or Jonang school. It's a school of Tibetan Buddhism which was suppressed. There, if you see, they say that the meaning of shunya is pure consciousness. Immediately it comes together with Advaita Vedanta. So this Tibetan scholar told me. That sense. Now if you say, how is my Hanumanji empty or my Atman Brahman empty? I can tell you one thing. Suppose on the TV screen, on this movie screen, you see sky and clouds and earth and trees and animals. And if I say the screen is empty of every one of those things, is it true or not? It's true. If I say all those things you see in the screen, sky, earth, animals, plants, they are full of the screen and screen only. There is no space there for anything else. Is it true or not? True. It is full, it is empty. Samsara shunya. Paramartha, the ultimate reality is samsara shunya. It is void of samsara. There is no space for samsara there, in that sense. Thank you.
Thank you.
Swami Sarvapriyananda ji in his book, Lila Prasanga, the life of Sri Ramakrishna, he says, what they call shunya, we call purna. All right, this gentleman here. Tell us your name and ask the question.
Yeah, my name is Brajesh. Namaste, Swamiji. My question is on oneness. Nirvana Shatakam. It says, I do not have father, I do not have mother, I do not have bandhu. There is that verse. We also heard this very famous mantra shloka that says, Tomeva Mata, Tomeva Pita. Which is the right oneness here?
Both. Both. If I say that the snake which you see, there is no snake there at all. I say, yeah, it's just true. Or I say, it is the rope alone. The rope exists. It's also true. You can see it in both ways. From the nature of pure consciousness, existence, consciousness, bliss, Satchidananda, there is no relation there possible. Whose father? Because it's causeless. Father, mother, not in just the ordinary sense. It's because it's causeless. There's no cause and effect there in Satchidananda. So no cause and effect, that means no father, no son, no father or mother, no son or daughter. That means no cause, nor effect. Beyond cause and effect. That's the meaning. Or, if you take it in a positive sense, here is this world. And Saguna Brahman, Ishvara is the cause of everything here. So God alone is my father, my mother. We are all the children of God. Somebody put it beautifully. God has no grandchildren. We are all the children of God. Of course, Gita, he says, Pitamaha. So, we are all the children of God. God is the cause, we are the effect. So, you can say, God is everything to me. In both ways. That second thing can be applied to Saguna Brahman. The first thing is applied to Nirguna Brahman.
So, it's transactional and ultimate.
Transactional and ultimate.
Thank you.
And remember, the transactional and ultimate are not two truths. Only for understanding they are analytically two truths. They are not two realities. There is only one reality here. That's why, very paradoxically, Nagarjuna, stunningly, he says, samsara and nirvana are one and the same. How stunning it is for a Buddhist who has been taught that you have to go from samsara to nirvana. And the Buddha has taught you this, Ashtanga Marga. It will take you from samsara to nirvana. Now, Nagarjuna is saying, samsara and nirvana are one and the same. But don't misunderstand. Then I will stay in samsara. Stay, you will suffer. When you attain nirvana, it is this thing here only. The enlightened person, Jivan Mukta, the Bodhisattva, is free here and now and here itself. So, yes. So, the Paramarthika and Vyavaharika, Saguna and Nirguna, also knowing that they are one and the same reality.
But, sorry, that follow on, in the transactional space, is there a oneness? Because I thought the oneness is only in the ultimate space.
No, in transactional also there is oneness from the perspective of Saguna Brahman. It is Saguna Brahman alone which has become or appears to be this entire universe. So in that sense there is also oneness. But transactionally also there is difference in the observed world where we interact. Thank you.
Thank you.
Tell us your name.
Namaste Swamiji, Harini. My question is on Vasanas. We're all born with those innate leanings, as you just
Yes.
explained with Duryodhana and Arjuna, right? The way they were choosing right over wrong. So do we just have to go through the Vasanas that we are born with? And if we have to take that effort, whether it's Karma Yoga or Bhakti Yoga, isn't that by in itself a Vasana?
Yes. The second one is an important question. The desire for sadhana, the desire for God realization, isn't that a vasana? Aren't we trying to fulfill a vasana, desire here by being here? Sri Ramakrishna gives a straight answer. No. In one sense it's a vasana, but it's a vasana which destroys all other vasanas. And he gives an example. Sweets cause acidity, acid reflux, acidity, because you're Bengali. Bengalis always have stomach trouble. Sweets, eating too much sweets causes acid. But if you eat sugar candy, mishri, sugar candy, so that acts as an antacid. That's also sweet. So this is, the desire for God is that which destroys all other desires. So it should not be counted as a desire. The vasana for doing sadhana destroys all other worldly vasanas and sets you free. So it should not be counted as one more vasana. It will help you, it will set you free.
So we are either graced with it when we are born, or is it something that we inculcate?
Desire for God realization, we will get it inevitably. We will have to come to this. We are fortunate because the question has arisen in our minds. And this question will pursue us, hound us till we are all enlightened, till we are all one with God. Because that's the whole point of this cosmic drama. One of the answers to the question, why did God create this universe? Why did Brahman project as this world? If you ask this question, one of the answers, a preliminary answer, is all of this is designed to lead us to enlightenment. So we will, if you move towards enlightenment, we pursue this inquiry, our life will actually be better because we are doing what God has planned for us. If we do not pursue enlightenment, we will get so many kicks and blows from all sides, we will again be forced back into this straight and narrow path. Whatever your religious tradition, whatever spiritual tradition. So that is the point of this whole drama. Now, do we have to inculcate it? Yes, certainly. Ignorance we are born with. For knowledge we have to go to school. So we come with all our past tendencies. But to move in the path of spirituality, we have to learn. We have to take up a particular path and walk the path. Good question. I'll come back here.
Swamiji, my question is a bit more of a practical, let's say, day-to-day one. In our everyday lives, there's many things we are dealing with, and maybe something happens, let's say at work or something, and there's something negative or unjust, and it starts to get the mind to become very worried, stressed, frustrated, angry. Now we have the knowledge that this is not good for us, and we try to put into practice ways to get out of it. But sometimes it feels like the harder you try, the more the mind is focused on those things.
Yes.
So why is it that, in humanity we tend to have that focus to stay in a negative state versus move to a positive state? And
worldly problems are always there. Problems in family, problems in community, in office, personal problems, health problems, they will always be there. Plus when you learn Vedanta problems, you will add one more layer of problem, Vedanta problem. Why? Earlier I was suffering. Now I am suffering and now I have got all this Vedantic knowledge that is not working. Extra problem. Why it is not working? Why am I not be able to calm the mind down? So, here is a little monkish advice, not monkey advice, monkish advice. You know how monks deal with it? They have a don't care attitude. Don't care attitude. This thing about what somebody said, it affects us. It does affect us. And you can't help it. You will deal with so many people all the time. Somebody or the others will be saying something. So I'll give you what I heard. In the Himalayas, I met this monk, very impressive person, staying alone in the mountains and very learned and all. You know, many of you may have heard the story, ye sach ya wo sach. Who am I that I told a story about Raja Janak and all. I heard it from this monk, from whose story I'm telling you now. So once, some other monks in a nearby ashram, they came. So monks are big for gossip. Huh? So they came and told this monk that, Swamiji, do you know what they are saying about you in that ashram? जानते हैं क्या बोल रहे हैं आपके बारे में in that ashram? Before he could say anything, that monk said, सब सच है. It's all true. What do you mean? You're not even asking what is, I don't care. You want to know whatever they are speaking against me, it is true or not. I'm giving you blank check. It is all true. No, you're getting angry. आप तो गुस्सा हो गए. No. I'm giving you, just take it that it's all true. So that kind of spirit one must have. I am not interested. The views of others don't count. Don't be contemptuous of anybody. But I will walk on the path of God. I will walk on the path of spirituality. That's my prime concern. I will not. It's my internally. This is what I'm all about. If I'm walking on that path, making progress, I'm happy. If I'm not, I'm unhappy. What happens in the world and other people? I am a well-wisher for everybody. Tathastu. There's one Ramana Maharshi story is there. That somebody, Swami Sarvapriyananda told me this story. That somebody wrote an essay criticizing Ramana Maharshi and published, and for publication in a journal, and sent it to Ramana Maharshi, a copy. Now Ramana Maharshi was sitting and correcting the grammar and spellings. Somebody said that, Bhagavan, he's criticizing you. And Ramana Maharshi said, no, he's criticizing some fellow called Ramana. I am not Ramana. So, he is unfazed by it. That is from the perspective of Kshetrajna. I am not a person. This personality is there. Now you may say it's very difficult to do that. Then use the sadhana. We'll talk about it tomorrow. I'm a well-wisher for everybody. If somebody says something bad, it may hurt a little bit. It doesn't matter. My focus is on God. I have no time to hear what others are saying. Once I was walking with a Swami. I was a brahmachari, a senior Swami of our ashram. We were walking. The usual path we would walk. He said, no, today we will walk this way. I said, why? See, those students are standing there. They're talking about us. About me. That means about him. So I will not go that way. I will go this way. We would be so eager to hear. What are they saying? Ear, big ear will become bigger. What are they saying? Is exactly the opposite. I don't want to hear. That kind of attitude. Yes.
Pranam Swamiji. My name is Alpana, and I have a very small question about Atma and Karma. How and why our karmas are tied up with our Atma, or I should say our Atma is tied up with our karmas.
Atma is not tied up with the karma. What happens is, the Atman is identified, feels that I am this mind body. And the mind has a potential state called Ajnana or Karana Sharira. All our samskaras, our tendencies are there in a seed form. As long as I am identified with that, I will feel this is my karma, this is my samskara, and I will have to get the result of that. So this identification with body and mind seems to tie the Atma. See, Vivekananda made it very clear. Good, good, bad, bad, and none escape the law. Whosoever wears a form wears the chain too. What is good? Punya. Good, punya leads to sukha. And bad, papa leads to dukkha. Papa means sin. Punya means merit. Good action. Good action leads to happiness, and evil action, immorality, leads to unhappiness. And he says, none escape the law. We will have to face the consequences. Why? Whoever wears a form wears the chain too. If I have a body, it has a chain attached to it. What is the chain? Past karma. How do I know? The results are coming. Look at your life. It's a mixture of bad and good and bad. Don't make a too precise connection. I pinched somebody came and pinched me today. So that is the connection. Not like that. In general, something negative in the past and some unhappiness in the present. Something positive in the past, some happiness in the present. So this is basically law of karma. Then what is Vedanta? He says, but far beyond name and form is Atman ever free. Know thou art that sannyasi bold. Say Om Tat Sat Om. You are not involved in this at all. You are like the sun shining in the sky. The pot is like the body. The water is like the mind. And the dirt in the mind, in the water, is like the samskaras in the mind. And the reflected sun there is like the consciousness right there now, which is feeling like a jiva. But you are none of them. What is the connection of this sun in the sky with a pot and dirty water and reflected light there? Nothing. No connection at all. This is what Vedanta teaches you. Far beyond name and form is Atman ever free. Know thou art that. Sannyasi bold. Say Om Tat Sat Om. Hold on to that. Samskaras will keep giving results. You will see in your life. But you are the witness to that. Do the best that you can. Be selfless, be devoted, be focused, and always know that you are the Atman. I have given you all the 4 yogas. Selfless, Karma Yoga. Devoted, Bhakti Yoga. Focused, Raja Yoga. I am the Atman, I am consciousness, Jnana Yoga.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Pranam Swamiji. So my question is, so we have 3 entities. We have the Atman consciousness, we have the qualities of the mind, and then we have the body.
Yes.
So my question is, if Atman or consciousness is not the mind or the qualities of the mind, then why is it that when we are reincarnated, we bring those qualities of the mind with us in our next lives?
Same question what she was asking. What happens in reincarnation is one body goes. All that goes in death is a body. But the subtle body, the mind, travels and it goes to another body and carries with it all the samskaras of the past lives. And there it is manifested in a new body, some of it. Atman being the witness here is also the witness there. Not involved here, not involved there also. But in ignorance seems to be, I am that. That's the problem. Vedanta cuts at the root. Not only 3 entities, you can fine-grain that analysis also. It can be 5 entities. Annamaya Kosha, physical body, Pranamaya Kosha, the vital body, the Manomaya Kosha, the mental body, and then the Vijnanamaya Kosha, the intellect body, Anandamaya Kosha, the bliss body or the causal sheath, beyond that the Atman. 5 beyond that Atman. Or you can make it 3. Sthula Sharira, Sukshma Sharira, Karana Sharira. Physical body, subtle body, causal body. And then Atman is beyond. Or you can make it even simpler. Atman, not Atman. What Krishna did. Simplest. Kshetragya Kshetra. Make it even simpler. The Kshetragya consciousness alone is real. The field, all the others, they are appearances like a movie on a screen. All that we call reincarnation and transference of past samskaras, it's all part of the movie, not part of the Atman. Atman makes this movie possible. The screen makes all movies possible. But the screen itself is untouched by the movie. But movie depends entirely on the screen. Without the screen, no movie is possible. Let's think about that.
Thank you.
Pranam Swamiji, my name is Amin. Firstly, sincere apologies as this might sound a bit stupid or even it may sound a little bit derogatory later. But I was having very intense discussion with a relative when I was in the US, and I was explaining this whole concept of appearance to him. I was trying to give him a practical example on the ground. We went to New York and saw these twin towers, a new set of towers standing there now, and explained that before that name and form was there was nothing. And then the twin tower was there. Now it's not there, another set of towers is there. But in the event, there's a bigger reality which is always there. And there's also this concept of secrets or power of thinking, where if we think in a certain aspect, we tend to start believing it. So his question is, yeah, all that sounds nice, but I don't really feel it like most of us. I don't really realize it. How do you do that? Then I talked about meditation and listening and Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasam, those concepts. And his remarks were, okay, it's like, it could be like, you tend to think too much about a certain topic. It could be all in the mind, you must be hallucinating, or maybe people take certain different routes like taking drugs and all and to stay away from the truth. maybe you're running away from the fact. And I don't know how, because we understand it's a bigger reality, but we don't really feel it. So how do we counter that, not from the argument's sake, but to make ourselves understand it better?
Yes. When we say that the world is an appearance, or false, or mithya, appearance nature of the world, what do we really mean? You know, a monk recently asked me, what do you Advaitins mean when you say the world is false? I see it. Here is the sky, here is the Ganga, here is the temple. I see it. How can it be false? Dekh rahe hain. How can it be false? I did not reply. He was a very senior Swami. But what would have been my reply? Notice what you said. I see it. What's the big deal about it? There's a Jewish word, chutzpah. How do I say? The cheekiness of Advaita Vedanta, the radical approach of Advaita Vedanta. Why do we think that the world is real? Because I see it, that's why it's real. Why does Advaita Vedanta say world is false? Because we see it, that's why it's false. What do you mean? When you say you see it, is this world anything apart from your seeing? Let me put it this way. Suppose you see sky, clouds, earth, people, dogs, and all of that on that screen. And you say, oh, that's a movie, it's not real. Now I ask you, you're seeing the sky and earth and all, why is it not real? Because you will say they are all pictures on a screen. It is the screen only. They are light and pictures. There is no real dog there. There is no real sky there. There is no real earth there. These are pictures. This is all because of the screen. Nothing apart from the screen. All the time you are seeing the screen with different kinds of pictures. Advaita Vedanta wants to say all our experiences are this consciousness with different kinds of pictures. Now, I will mention our senior most member in New York, Bill Conrad. He was, he's 98 years old now. He was a pilot, he was a navigator on a bomber in Second World War in the Pacific Theater. So he has, and a physicist. So he said, it is not true, Swami, that the world exists only in my mind or in our consciousness. It exists outside. How? I will prove it to you. Here in this room, we will set up a camera. It will take pictures. You and I will both leave the room. No conscious being is there in the room. We will come back and look at the pictures of the camera. It will show you an empty room, happily existing, without any consciousness at all. You and I are not there. It's not in our minds. It's out there. Broad argument. I'm not saying this. Advaita also is not saying that this world is in our minds. But my answer to him, you know what was? Just think about any counter to my answer. I will give you the answer. Think about it. I said, Bill, in your awareness, in your consciousness, in your awareness, you designed this experiment. In your awareness, you put the camera. In your awareness, you told me and yourself, both of us, we left the room. In your awareness, we came back into the room. In your awareness, you looked at the pictures in the camera. In your awareness, you saw the picture of an empty room. At which point have you gone outside your awareness? And there is no answer to this. Somebody said, he has been asking this question before you were born. Now he has no reply, no comeback now. At last he has found an answer. Advaita Vedanta says, Jagat Mithya. Why? Drishyatvat. Because you see it. Because it's an appearance in consciousness. Then that means it cannot be anything apart from consciousness. It's not real in the sense people think it's real. That apart from all consciousness, there is a thing outside. Materialistic realism, not in that sense.
Thank you so much.
The question about you thinking too much about it, meditating upon it, taking drugs, and then you feel all this. It's not feeling. That's the beauty of Advaita Vedanta. It's hard, cold analysis and logic. At no point, they are fanatics on logic. At no point will they allow you to stray from 1 millimeter from rationality. At every point it is understanding and experience. That's the beauty.
Sure. Thank you, Swamiji.
Yes.
Hari Om Swamiji. My name is Michael Teo, and I have two questions.
Yes.
The first question is one I trust Swamiji may have encountered before, or at least thought about it at some time, having lived in the US for many years. How would Swamiji use the Christian concept of Trinity, meaning the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit are one, to help expound Advaita Vedanta philosophy to a very open-minded Christian? The second question is actually not a question, but one that seeks Swamiji's affirmation and insights, as well as your critique of a few statements of my understanding of the teachings of Advaita Vedanta.
Could you just hold on, because the first question let me answer, and then I'll come to this one. Just hold on there. Father, Son, and Holy Ghost, which is a part of Christian theology, the Trinity. How would you use that to explain Advaita? I'll give you an answer which will make a Catholic theologian roll their eyes, because that's not what it means at all in Christianity, but a very general kind of answer. I would say Father corresponds to Saguna Brahman, Ishvara, Bhagavan, creator, preserver, destroyer of this universe. Omnipotent, omniscient, omnipresent, all-loving, just, the controller of karma, or the giver of rewards and punishments, like that. So Saguna Brahman, Ishvara corresponds to Father. The Son corresponds to incarnation, Avatara, like Jesus, so Rama and Krishna and so on, Avatara. These, it's not very difficult to map these two. There are sufficient, even a theologian would agree there are sufficient grounds to map these. Though there are distinctions, but sufficient grounds to map. Now the big jump I will take, the Holy Ghost, I would say that if I wanted to, I would compare it to or map Nirguna Brahman with it, and then explain Advaita to a Catholic Christian. However, the only problem there is, in theology, the Holy Ghost does not mean Nirguna Brahman. It does not mean consciousness. It's the presence of God, the relationship. The God amongst us is the Holy Ghost. That's the closest they have got.
Thank you. Okay, I'll just repeat it. My second question is actually not a question, but one that seeks Swamiji's affirmation and insights, as well as your critique of a few statements of my understanding of the teachings of Advaita Vedanta. If they are incorrect or inaccurate, please let me know which ones and why. Or Swamiji could, in one statement, say, Michael, you are utterly deluded and confused. And Michael will be very happy and pleased. So this is the...
Yes, tell me.
Here it comes. All the major religions of the world, without any exception, are mere stories or ideas pointing to that one indivisible and unknowable truth. Enlightenment is only for those who believe they are seekers of truth, not knowing that enlightenment itself is all there is. If so, we believe that, if we believe that we are seekers of the truth, then religion for us is necessary until it becomes unnecessary. Maya is indeed the face of Brahman, engulfed in an illusionary cosmic play called duality. What we call samsara is nothing but an effect of a false conditioning that rests on the reflections of Brahman. Behold, samsara is not any different from nirvana, and nirvana is not separate from samsara. And this is an inescapable, immutable, everlasting, and somewhat paradoxical truth. With this knowledge, Advaitins welcome everyone back again to this school called Planet Earth to enjoy this wonderful journey of experiences and discoveries, and whilst in here, do get to know who you really are, and only from then on where the real magical fun ride begins, yet again, on Tat Sat.
Good. I don't see anything to object in that, and I think it's very beautifully put. It's like mostly, I think classical Advaita Vedanta would approve of what you said, although the language sometimes is more neo-Advaita than I mean, yes.
Okay.
But good. I love it. Thank you. Thank you, Michael. Thank you. We'll come to you last, Shreya.
Hi Swamiji, this is Dheeraj here. I am first time attending the Advaita knowledge what you shared, but I have been in spirituality, meditation, as well as energy understanding. But the part which always is not clear is that the ultimate aim is enlightenment, and that's what Krishna or any spiritual person trying to impart the knowledge is trying. But the whole knowledge of consciousness, the way we are understanding, it's all known. When we wake up, as you said, we are seeing a tiger in the dream, but it's just a dream. Everything is like that. Why is it so complex when we try to understand the bits and pieces?
Okay, let me just answer that much.
Yeah.
Why does it seem so complex and difficult? In itself, it's not complex.
Just one thing, it is complex for us, but a small baby when born, he follows everything as per the consciousness. So why?
No. It seems complex for us because we make it complex. The truth itself is not very complex. We have created a lot of complexities, and to untie those knots, many complex practices and theories are evolved. In Kashmiri Shaivism, there are 4 levels of practice. The first level, highest level, is called Anupaya, no path. You directly you realize that you are Paramashiva. That's not happening. Then you have the next level, which is called Shambhava Upaya, the way of Shiva, which is very close to Advaita Vedanta. You realize that I am Shiva, Shivoham. It's like a Jnana Marga. If that doesn't work, little more complex path is there, which is called Shakta Upaya, the way of Shakti or Mahamaya. Their mantra is introduced, meditation is introduced, Samadhi is introduced, it becomes more complex. If that is also not working, then there is something called Anva Upaya, the way of Anu or Jiva, our level, where a lot of rituals and pujas and so many things, most complex. Because we are the most complex. We have created a lot of useless complexities. To untie those complexities, these practices are necessary. Otherwise, if somebody can directly realize Tattvamasi, hold on to that, you realize that your problems are solved, what could be more beautiful and direct than that? All right, Shreya, we'll conclude with you.
Pranam Maharaj, after so many wonderful questions, I have a simple question. In today's world, if we practice karma yoga alone, can we get enlightenment?
Classical Advaita Vedanta would say, no, through karma yoga you will have to come to purification of mind, then through meditation you will have to come to concentration of mind, then with a pure and concentrated mind, your Vedanta will become effective, and you have to do all of them together. Jnana Yoga will give you knowledge and you will become enlightened, and all of them have to go together. So that is the classical Advaita Vedanta answer. However, Swami Vivekananda has got direct answer to a question. Yes, do karma yoga, purify your mind, the rest is very easy.
Thank you, Maharaj, for explaining it with such clarity.
Thank you, Shreya. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.